Hi there, welcome to the project. This is my fourth model in Series 1 of my Battlegrounds project, the hangar. Following on from the previous models in the series, this model continues our journey towards the droid factory and represents a grand, open entrance for ferrying fresh battle droids out to the troop transports. This design was inspired by two main sources. The first was from Attack of the Clones, where we see a short scene of Count Dooku escaping on his speeder bike during the first battle of Geonosis. You can see the rock formations around which I used as the core shape of the model. I also looked at the lights and details around for ideas to add the smaller details. The second is from Battlefront 2 2017, on the Geonosis Galactic Assault map. On the clone side of the map there is a large closed door in the background which leads to the factory itself. I was considering a door to this model, but I wanted to keep the parts count down and I liked the open feel of the model. As you can see, the main frame for the model is quite sturdy and has a solid frame running through the top beam. The sides are also built up well and I used the snot technique to lock everything into place. The main goal for the front of the model was to try to really show this hangar has been built into the rockwork, and this leads inside the mountains where the factories have been built. I wanted to have some nice details on the front rockwork, so I opted to include some pipelines and a large exhaust vent to give the front something to grab the eye, and also to make the build pop a little more. The concept art for the Battlefront 2 map shows these waste pipelines and vents to filter out the waste products from the factory, so I wanted to include those details on the hangar front here. The key colour for this rockwork at the front had to be dark orange, as with the previous models in this series, as it was the only colour really for me that could represent the red sands of the planet. I then used medium nougat as the accent colour as a way to break up the colour overall. I tried to smooth off as much of the details as possible, like this vent here. The rounded bricks give a nice finish and fit the style of the Geonosian architecture well. The grilled tiles do well to simulate the vent itself, and I used black plates behind it to sell the idea that this vent leads to something. I wanted to have the floor as smooth as possible while still leaving studs to put down minifigures. I used some rounded pieces in the corners to add a little more detail and some more dark orange to have the rockwork flow onto the build platform. I wanted some sharp angles on the flooring to give the model a nice shape and as to not use too many parts and extend the floor out too much. I used these pearl dark grey pieces to have pipelines on the sides of the rockwork. The walls looked a little bland, so I wanted to incorporate something there that could fit in the aesthetic of the build and make the walls look a little more interesting. They are only clipped on by a few studs, so they can fall off from time to time, but they serve a purpose on the build. On the right side of the hangar's interior, I've made a large archway to show a path through to another location. There are two Technic pins which allow you to connect my previous tunnels model to this one. The clones attacking the tunnels will now be able to walk all the way through to the hangar and take out the droid forces there. Inside, the archway is nicely detailed as if it has been sculpted into the existing rockwork. On the wall, I have a transparent orange panel design representing the large holoscreen seen in the Geonosian control room. It adds something interesting to the rockwork. Inside, I changed the colour for the rockwork to reddish brown to simulate the lower light levels. I coupled this with putting lights on both sides and above the entrance of the hangar to show the need to illuminate the interior. The technique used most all the way around the model is the snot technique. All of the rockwork you see around the model are panels made up of various plates and wedges to really give the nice edge to the walls and make it seem like a natural terrain. I've included a few small greebling details, a large canister, and lights above the entrance to really make the build more interesting and give it more life. All these extra details were inspired by small things I noticed in the source material, and are always the things I enjoy developing most in the builds. I love building the extra bits. On the top of the hangar, I wanted to include some of the mushroom-like rocks to cover the top, and also a couple of spires which are seen throughout the planet. There are 2 columns which represent chimneys to filter out all the fumes from the heavy production of the factory. The rockwork also nicely overhangs the entrance too, as it makes it feel more authentic. As I mentioned, this model has plenty of options to display your minifigures. You can create so many scenes and tell your own story. I had a blast setting up these figures and finding new ways to display this model. Overall, I'm super happy with what I came up with for this design, and I think it really fits the Geonosis aesthetic well, and also keeps the same ideas as the previous models in the series. I think the rockwork looks great and captures what we see in the films and games. I'm also really happy I was able to incorporate the connection between the previous Tunnels model too, as having all these models to be able to fit in the same story was really key to me, as a main component of what I'm trying to do with this project. You can even hide your Geonosians in the corner so they can plot against those invading clones. I'm currently finishing up a transport design to bring the new droids from the factory through the hangar and out to the troop transport ship, so keep your eyes peeled for that soon. Instructions for this model and all others in the series are up now on my Rebrickable page, so feel free to check them out in the link in the description. I've been working on this first series for a very long time, so I'm excited to finally have it out there. Next up will be my final main model for this series, and it's the biggest so far. I'll be working on that video and will hopefully be uploading it soon. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to be bringing you much more to the channel in the coming weeks, so stay tuned, and thank you for supporting the project.